I think it is very good that Unilever is participating in this Congress because it gives the dermatologists an opportunity to interact with the cosmeceutical companies. We also, as dermatologists, will be able to understand what Unilever products are available for our use, and therefore we can share knowledge, and we may get feedback actually from our dermatologists to the Unilever, for example. And we do that for all the other cosmeceutical companies too, basically with a concerted effort to come up with something that is best for our patients, that will give us the best treatment outcome for our patients. And I think cosmeceutical companies now plays a very important role because there are many drugs that we have in the market now which don't seem to give very good outcome occasionally, despite it being a prescription item. And very often, especially in skincare products, we actually use a lot of cosmeceutical products with the various ingredients as well. And these are not classified as drugs, but they are an important armamentarium that we use in treating patients nowadays. So just to give you an example of the role of cosmeceutical companies in helping dermatologists treating skin disorders, providing skincare products. Unilever, for example, in some of the product range contains niacinamide. And niacinamide is not a prescription drug actually, but it is a very good anti-whitening, it's anti-pigment ingredients as a skin whiteners, and it is found in some of these products. Even in some sunscreen, and they help actually to reduce pigmentations in those very common pigmentary disorder like melasma. And some products, for example, contains things like salicylic acid, which is actually a form of fruit acid, and they are actually quite useful for treating patients with acne, young people with acne. And some of these ingredients actually do help our dermatologists in treating some of these conditions. We add them on as adjunctive treatment, and therefore you can see that there are many of these products, ingredients, which are present, for example, in Pond's, in other Unilever products, which can be quite useful to the dermatologists. Acne is a very common condition, especially in adolescents. 70 to 80% of our population actually suffers from acne. But it is not something that you should ignore, because it can have very severe sequelae, for example, scar, and scars are permanent. And now we begin to understand how acne develops. It is basically a hormonal problem that the male hormones stimulates the oil gland during puberty to be enlarged to produce more oil. And the duct that drains the oil gland actually becomes obstructed as a result of increased keratinization, and bacteria start to attack the sebum, and the sebum will then develop into free acids and cause a lot of inflammation. So one of the ways to treat acne actually is to dislodge the keratin that is blocking the duct. And we have with us a few things like retinoids, as well as salicylic acid, which is a very common ingredient in many skincare products. For example, in some of the Pond's and the Unilever products, we have salicylic acid as an anti-acne agent, and they are pretty effective, especially when it is used in combination with other medical treatment for acne vulgaris. Well, it is effective as an adjunctive treatment. By itself, if you have very mild acne, yes, it will work. So we will clear most of the acne. It depends on the severity of the acne, basically. So for mild acne by itself, it will work. But for more severe acne, you need it actually as an adjunctive treatment, as a combination with other treatment regimen. And the response to treatment, unfortunately, is very variable. Different people respond differently. But it is a very important adjunctive treatment to help clear acne, especially when the conventional treatment does not help. I think the Asian population, they have a tendency to want to look fair. It's very different from the Caucasians who like to be tan. And a fair, clean look is very, very important. A clean skin, in other words, they must be free from blemishes, freckles, what we call lentigos, and other forms of pigmentations. Some of this pigmentation can arise from, for example, acne vulgaris itself. When you have acne on the face, the Asian people tend to have this tendency to develop pigmentations following the acne. And they don't like the pigmentation, which may take months and years to clear. So they always look for something that will help to remove the pigmentations. So whitening product is a very, very important component Then the sheen, they want to have a nice shiny look. Some of them, they like to have this rosy shiny looks on their face. And these are some of the concerns they have, and they always seek treatment for such blemishes that they wish to have them cleared. Well, niacinamide actually is one of the very important ingredients. It is basically vitamin B3. It has been found to have a whitening property. The substance actually blocks the transfer of melanin, which is produced by our pigment cells called melanocytes. They are then transferred to the keratinocytes, which is the skin cells on the upper surface of the skin. And then that's how we get our pigmentation. So niacinamide has got this unique property of blocking the transfer of melanin from the pigment cells to the skin cells, and thereby reducing the pigmentation. It also has got an anti-inflammatory property. In other words, it reduces inflammation. As you know, for example, acne, sunburns, and all that cause inflammation, and the inflammation is then subsequently transmitted into the stimulation of the production of melanin by the melanocytes or the pigment cells, and therefore you get more pigmentation. So these substances that's related to niacinamide help to reduce and prevent pigmentation. And it is used by some companies, including Pond's products and in some of the Unilever products, as a skin whitening agent. And they are quite safe because it is a cosmeceutical item. It's not even a drug or a prescription item. Well, cleansing has always been part of our daily routine, and basically we want to get rid of all the pollutants or carbon particles, dust particles, and some of the things that we apply on our skin, on our face, plus the cell turnover. So cleansing is a very essential component if we want to get rid of all this, because some of this can cause infections, inflammations, and all that. And a good skin cleanser will be very important, particularly now that we understand the functions of the various layers of the skin. In particular, we have this stratum corneum, which is a very important protective layer, and they are actually very vulnerable. They can be injured very easily, and injury to this stratum corneum can lead to a lot of sequelae, skin inflammations, flakiness, dryness, and so on and so forth. And therefore, a choice of a good cleanser is very important. Well, the cleansers, there are many types and many ingredients. And some of these unfortunate, for example, those that contains a lot of surfactant can injure the stratum corneum. And when they injure the stratum corneum, then it will lead to dryness, and you can get itchiness, redness, which is something that we do not want. Therefore, you need to ensure that the ingredients in the cleansers do not irritate the skin. And if possible, restore the barrier function of the skin as they cleanse the skin. Well, some of these cleansers actually incorporate some of the peptides and some proteins, and some of these proteins and peptides actually can improve the reflectance of the skin, and it gives the skin a nice, clear, and reflective appearance. Salicylic acid is a very, very old chemical, and it has been used in medicine for decades, if not centuries. It has got several properties. Number one is that it is an anti-inflammatory agent. It reduces inflammation. So if you have acne, for example, or any inflammation of the skin, salicylic in low concentration, though, can reduce the inflammation. Well, it is the same drugs that you use to treat patients with joint pains and anti-inflammatory agent. The other very useful property in terms of skin function is that it is an exfoliant. It helps to peel off the dead skin. So in acne vulgaris, you do have a lot of comedones that are sort of blocking the sebaceous duct to prevent the oil from draining out. And this salicylic acid helps to loosen the thickened skin on the duct and help to open up the duct so that the oil, the sebum, can come out, and therefore preventing the bacteria from acting on the sebaceous material. So it is a very useful peeling agent. And in fact, salicylic acid has been used as a peeling agent to do chemical peels on the face. And it is supposed to, again, to help loosen all the dead skin. And therefore, you get the dead skin to exfoliate more efficiently and remove acne, as well as other blemishes, pigmentations as well.